Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the worst reviews ever. Today we got Wally, amazing, and myself, the sophisticated jerk. Yeah, so Amazing was out there passing out candy, being festive. So what the hell is that costume anyways?
Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead?
Yep.
Oh,
Mexican.
okay.
Yeah, of course.
Me and Wally are there in spirit, but we ain't going all the way there.
I ain't even there in spirit. The only piece of
You say you ain't even there in spirit?
at least with candy, anything else, you can keep it for yourself.
Yeah, she was passing out candy. I was getting irritated. I'm like, man, I can't get used to like you giving away free stuff like this.
Look, the kids in the neighborhood wait for me every year. They remember me year after year. They take pictures with me and everything. It's fun.
Congratulations being a loser. But all right, I'll pull these slides up. So the movie we're going to review today is Kingdom of the Planet of Apes. So all right, Kingdom of the Planet of Apes, of the Apes. I don't know why they put that title so damn long. Is a 2024 American science fiction action film directed by Wes Ball and written by Josh Friedman. So the summary is many years after the reign of Caesar, a young ape goes on a journey that will lead him to question everything he's been taught about the past and makes choices that will define a future for apes and humans alike. So, all right, let me jump into the directors and the producers. So, directed by Wes Ball, written by Josh Friedman, produced by Wes Ball, Joe Hattrick, Rick Jaffa, Amanda Silver, Jason T. Reed, and Matt Reeves. So, all right, the cast for the movie: Owen Teague as Noah, Kevin Durand as Proximus Caesar. He was the like main antagonist, the goon in the movie. Peter Macon as Raka, Lydia Peckman as Suna, Travis Jeffrey as Ayana, Sarah Wiseman as Dar, Neil Sandilands as Coro, and Ika Darville as Silva. So, all right, y'all know the rating scale. So amazing. Since you're in a festive mood, you get to go first.
I'm going to go with a 9.
Mm. So you got it right between excellent and classic.
Yep.
All right. I'll go second because we always be making Wally go first and stuff. So I'm gonna give him a break today. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 8.6. So I'm in an excellent territory. And Wally.
So wait, so Amazing said 9, and you said what again? You said
8.6.
Oh, 8.6. Yeah, it was definitely up there. I give it 8.5.
Okay. So Wally in a excellent territory also. So amazing. Since you had the highest score, go ahead and break it down. Take it from here. What was your rating again, and why did you give the movie that rating?
So I gave it a 9. I would definitely recommend it. I gave it that rating and would recommend it because to me, every Planet of the Apes movie, it's just like so well done as far as storyline, plot. A lot is the same. It seems like it's like human against ape. But even in this one, they make the apes, to me anyways, for the most part, like so lovable. It's almost like who do you want to win, the ape or the human, knowing you're human? Because I think they make the ape so lovable for the most part.
Traitor.
Scenes and actresses that stuck out. There's so many of them. I think the fighting scenes were super good. Again, like however they do with the computer or the AI or whatever they do for those apes, I think they just make them so human. Like, I mean, just even from like their eyes when they're, like you can see feeling in their eyes, I feel like. I really liked the way they kind of gave the little flash, like the verbiage on, so you were going forward, because I actually missed that. So you helped help me out when I was like, I was confused. So you have to make sure that you're also looking at the screen in the beginning, otherwise you might be thrown off. But if you're watching it, I think it's just like a great touch point kind of on how they tie, you know, Prid Caesar to kind of what people are the apes brought it to. And I also just really liked the way it was all about power, really. And I feel like it's the same way with humans, is these people, somebody gets power hungry and then just kind of goes in like the bad guy phase to kind of, you know, they just can't handle just that little bit. It's like they want more and more and more. And then all of a sudden they want to be in charge and powerful over everything. One of the scenes, a couple of the scenes that stuck out to me were towards the beginning. I really liked the way they incorporated the eagles into it. I don't know if anybody's ever seen an eagle's nest. I've seen several of them just because I spent a lot of time in Minnesota. There's bald eagles all over. Those nests are gigantic. I mean, I think a lot of eagles' nests are between 6 feet wide, and then they go down to like 3 to 4 feet deep. So you literally can fit whole men in these. They're humongous. So I just like the kind of how they incorporated that, and eagles in general are so huge. So I thought that was just a really good incorporation on how they kind of like pecked even at Noah in the beginning, because they felt like he wasn't there yet. But by the end, the eagles did, you know, come to him and they were loyal. And that's what ended up taking out the bad king in the end. I did, at first I was a little disappointed towards the end scene when the other like big bully monkey, how he ended up dying just because he was too buff to get through the bars, and he just ended up drowning. And I was like, well, that was kind of an odd, you know, just an odd, because I was thinking that was the ending. But then when the actual ending was the king and Noah fighting, where the eagles came in, I thought that was an excellent scene and very well thought of. If I was the director and producer, what would I change or do differently? Oh gosh, I maybe would have done, trying to think through, maybe something at the end, just the way the relationship was between human Nova / I think her name was May, maybe made them partner more. But honestly, I don't even know if I would have done that. I'll have to think about it a little more after I hear you guys give your opinions, because that was, and I didn't even mention that, but I loved that human aspect of it, when the humans were kind of like just like the little feral rats running around. So things had just changed so much. So I just thought everything about the movie was excellent.
All right. So I'll go ahead and give my take. So again, my rating was a 8.6. And the reason why I gave it a 8.6 in an excellent territory, because, you know, I just think the whole series altogether, I think this is probably one of the, I say, few movies that had multiple parts and also a remake that it just excelled and stuff. Because I remember the old one, I was thinking back at that and how cheesy it was, where they were just wearing a costume. So the graphics and stuff, like Amazing was saying with the monkeys and stuff, you know, just being so like realistic. I think that's definitely a good touch. Would I recommend this movie to anyone? Absolutely. I think you need to catch this one. So the plot and the storyline for me was definitely good, because I like how they're progressing in the movie. So in the movie, you know, with the original ones, they had Caesar, and you know, he was in the society when everything was still running and stuff, with the humans, you know, kind of at the reins. But now it's like, you know, after humans are kind of scattered, and you know, they couldn't speak and stuff, they finally found one that could talk and stuff. So you know, I like the part where, you know, they're kind of reflecting and they're looking at the books and stuff. They're like, you know, humans used to run stuff. So I like that scene where, you know, they was actually like putting the pieces together, and they kind of saw like how they were treated in the cages and stuff. So I like how they kind of like, you know, showed them like in a kind of at the top of the food chain versus like what was in the books and stuff. But like, just getting back to the plot and the storyline, I like how in this movie, it's almost like, you know, the society collapsed, and it's almost like when man was like in primitive times and stuff. So it's like they're in the beginning phase where they don't really have the technology or nothing yet. They're living off the land, definitely smarter, but it's like they're almost starting to progress. And I like what Amazing said, where it's like, even though they're monkeys and apes and stuff, it just shows like how they kind of operate just like humans, where they start like breaking up in groups instead of everybody coming together and, building, like a utopia. It's just like everybody's fragmented. People are starting to wrestle for power and stuff like that. So I like how they kind of show like, hey, they're kind of, even though that they probably don't like humans as much, or what they call them in the movie echoes, they're starting to emulate the behaviors of humans when, they started fragmenting into different groups, trying to conquer each other and stuff like that. So I think that was a great touch, how they capture that in the movie. So I already kind of discussed the scene that stuck out to me. Definitely like what Amazing was saying. I like the scene where Proxima Caesar was explaining to Noah, like, hey man, we could advance. We get in here, we're gonna have all this technology and stuff like that. So I think he was actually the catalyst for, because even in the old movies where they run in a functional society with technology and stuff. So I think he was the one who kind of had the vision, even though he was bad. It was like, look, we're about to go to this next level and stuff. So I think I like how they kind of show that dynamic leading up to like the future progression of the apes when, they got space shuttles and stuff like that. So that scene definitely stuck out to me, how he was just breaking down everything to him. So if I was the director and the producer of this movie, what would I change or do differently? At first, I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of disappointed. Not disappointed, but I was like, I don't know if this was all that great until I started like I had to sit back and think about it. And I was like, nah, I like how they actually captured them, in the beginning phase of like not having too much technology and stuff like that. And it started off with that little clan that they were just, with the eagles and stuff. So at first I was like, how they just so basic now, but I kind of like how they did that. And so it's like the series gonna progress. So honestly, I wouldn't change nothing with the movie. I'll just leave it as is. Cause I like how they the female, they show the other humans and stuff. So it looks like it's gonna be a build up to like a war or something. And so I kind of like how they left that cliffhanger also. So yeah, I would have changed nothing. Cause they left a lot of like gray area, which I like when there's gonna be other movies and stuff. So all right, Wally, kicking it over to you.
Right. Give a moment. Let me just put this. All right. So I gave it 8.5. So yeah, pretty much. Yeah, coming into this movie, I was sort of just lost in the beginning part, just because I'm looking at most of these days. I'm like, okay, who are these guys, and why should I care about these people? And I'm like, okay, these are not the same people. I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking at one person. I'm like, okay, is this Caesar, or what we got here? And I'm like, oh no, this is a different tribe. Okay, I'm like, okay, well, let's see where this goes. And the next thing you know, the young little chimpanzee, however you want, monkey, whichever side of the monkey, archetype they are. I believe they're chimpanzees, if I'm not mistaken, because they don't got no tail. But yeah, so they come over there, and then I remember the young son comes in where the action is. Come to find out, you find gorillas, and this particular, and the gorilla that's leading them is saying, all hell Caesar. This is for King Caesar. I'm like, wait, what? Wait, huh? Wait, what's going on here? Wait, you got monkey tribe versus monkey tribe? What is this? You over here snatching people? Like, what's going on over here? Coming to find out, Caesar's dead. There's a new leader, and he's a piece of shit. Okay. It's like, you sit there, you be like, okay, this makes perfect sense. So y'all just saying this in memory of Caesar, but reality, this is not Caesar's whole archetype of plan, because why would Caesar ambush and steal and snatch a bunch of other tribes that chose to separate themselves? That makes no sense. Like, live in peace, I want you. But okay. But yeah, the beginning part was sort of slow for me, because I just didn't know who these characters was and where they came, just mainly who their characters was. But apparently there were new characters. as we go on, of course, we know there's certain tribes that was connected to Caesar. So the remnants of Caesar's tribe was there. Is just that under new leadership and new mindset, they flipped the switch and said, "We trying to bury these humans to the ground, and we need to get into that damn cave to do so." Which good reasons why y'all wasn't able to get in, because that was military grade lockdown. Lord have mercy, to see the inside out, that was not a pretty sight to see. Because I was like, no wonder why I couldn't blow that up, because that was not a normal gate.
Yeah,
That was not a normal gate. But of course, y'all didn't have the whereabouts to get inside, which I find it funny how the girl that was literally in the woods, that was more intelligent than any other of the so-called human that were captured in the wilderness, had the map plans, and the only reason she stayed around those particular section of gorillas / monkeys / chimpanzees was mainly because she was looking for their help. Even though, funny enough, towards the end, you literally see her having one last talk with Noah, and then having the strap right behind her freaking back, ready to probably shoot this man. Man, look, all y'all humans, y'all get what y'all deserve. I hope the next movie they get buried. I'm like, seeing that, I'm like, oh yeah, you gonna get buried. I hope you get buried. Please tell me you're gonna get buried. Please tell me you're gonna get buried. Helped you get what you want, and you keep on lying with your scheming ass, and then this is what you do. I'm like, you trifling. But of course, what do you expect? She's willing to even murder her own race, snap the neck, put him to sleep, and concuss him. I'm like, what type of stuff are we doing here? Like, Lord have mercy. Like, yo, I'm like, okay, all different surprises, all different types of surprises. She was a murderer on the run with no food, no guidance, and no help. Well, she had multiple guidance. She had a plan. She had a freaking map. Funny enough, they hired her to do it because they didn't do a dude, but hey, either which way. It makes it even more funnier because it goes to tell you who are more likely to be the more cutthroat serial mother lovers out there in the world. Women. Especially when y'all have to, women. So it makes perfect sense. But but then overall, like, look, with my rating, like, would I recommend this overall? Yeah, I would recommend you to watch the movie. Plot was good. I like the plot, how it was all set up and everything else, start to finish. I mean, like, again, the start was a little bit slow for me because I didn't know what I was walking into, and just not being familiar with a lot of the monkey / gorilla / chimpanzees and any other race amongst that in a loop into that. So I was sort of just literally like bombarded with everything. But as time go on and learning everything else as it expands, and knowing that Caesar was gone and new leadership was taken in role and everything else, it became more of a, okay, let's see where this goes, and then how far does this get us? But loved it all together overall. Scenes / actors and actresses performance that stuck out. So yeah, I don't even know what scene, I don't know what actors or actresses really. Well, let's be honest. Like I said, I spoke a lot about the female because she was literally like a trained assassin out here, just doing a bunch of things, also snaking around, just using people only to then screw them over at the end, apparently. Because lucky enough, if they did not know how to get inside only to get out, they would have been all screwed. Just notice, they would have been all screwed. Because I ain't gonna lie, the amount of tanks that were in that bunker, they would have been all killed. They would have been all killed. But going back to scenes, one of the many scenes that I like after the fact of the clan, the eagle clan being captured, Noah finding one of the eagles that his father once owned, and it scratched them, like it pretty much scratched him when he was trying to call it over them. Basically meaning you're not in a place of leadership and anything else whatsoever. So meaning you still have a lot of learning curve to be taken under your wing as far as a young man trying to branch out. Because right now your father was the leader of your tribe. So now it's like you have to take up that and you have to know what it means to be this, since you're so unknowledgeable about what's really going on. So as you constantly keep on going, you constantly keep on traveling, you constantly finding another chimpanzee that now teaches you other things and teaches you the truth of what was the core thing about this and what was Noah's true, I mean, not Noah, but what was Caesar's true ideology when it comes to dealing with humans and how he chooses to move forward with the civilization of the monkey tribe altogether. You end up learning things where it teaches you compassion, it teaches you kindness, but at the same time, it also teaches you how to also be a team, work together, and be mindful about everything that you deal with when it comes to everything else. Now, of course, as time moves on, and he builds himself up, he constantly builds himself up, constantly getting that growth as a character developed. But stemming from that, the next thing that was very important was when he looked inside the telescope, and then the female ended up looking inside the telescope herself. That was a very important scene because the one thing is, the plot hole is they never show what was being seen in space. And as we all know, towards the end of the movie, when the girl pretty much handed over that particular card, aka the book that would help humans, right? When she gave over the card, notice the satellites and everything else, shifted and everything else, and then you're able to connect. But of course, you see Noah again going back there with his, I think it was the brother and sister at the time, maybe the mother, one or the other. And then they go right back to that same telescope and they look inside again. But of course, we are not, again, plot hole. We don't get to see what's up there. But 9 times out of 10, whatever is up there is, space satellite, quote unquote, and all the other stuff that, the humans are using. And if it is true that it is that, then of course we all know this story between the warfare of human and apes / monkeys will never end because it's only going to get worse. Which you're just going to realize how very inferior y'all are to these mofos because they're going to beat the living daylights out of y'all. Can't wait. Can't wait. Y'all all deserve what y'all get. I can't wait. But moving on from that point, what was another key moment scene? The next key moment scene was when Noah was finally able to call upon the eagle. That was a big moment right there because when the eagle finally landed perfectly onto his arm without harming him, that was the true significance of his leadership at that time. Because the eagle has acknowledged him as such to now embrace his arm like he once embraced his father's. So that gave true leadership signal right there, and at least being in position, which also signals off at the end where he pretty much dropped off whatever the other guy name is that try to say his name is Caesar, which his name was never Caesar, just whatever ruler he name is. Don't know, don't remember, don't care. But pretty much using the eagles to beat him up, cut him up, and then knock him down, which was very much traumatic and very lightning, just how it was done, which is pretty much equal. What else is there? What else can I say that was very much? I did like the fact because he did said that Noah was a clever monkey, which was smart because in the scenery you can tell he was really clever because as the big gorilla soldier was coming after him while they're in the bunker and the water was coming on in, he was trying to catch him every single moment and he couldn't. The big gorilla was trying to muscle through everything, but Caesar was being smart and trapping him, which only then eventually washed him away, which pretty sucks, but pick and choose. You could have chose to guide out, or you chose to do this, which honestly, if he chose to guide out, it would have been more smarter because 9 out of 10, he probably would have beat Caesar. He probably would have beat Noah to his life if he did. Literally.
Oh yeah, he's gonna give him that work.
Exactly, especially because there was no space on top of that exit. There was really no space. There was no space at all. So that beatdown would have been very graphic, but nonetheless. What else was there? I'm thinking of. What else was there? Yeah, the big scene when I forgot what the chimpanzee name was at the time, the guy that they found, but losing him, that was a big scene right there, because that last moment of her memory of pretty much of Caesar's message, right? Making sure he remembers it and stays to it before he gets, curved up by the waterfall and then eventually loses his life, which pretty much you can expect he lost life because we don't get to see him again. Or wherever, like just wherever he at right now overall. But yeah, big important factor right there. One thing, what else can I really say? Other than that, it's pretty much just everything else that came in. I think the next scene was pretty much when they got into that bunker and they saw the books, and just seeing like how they opened that book and then they saw themselves. They saw the gorilla, then they saw the monkey. And it's like, this is how they pick them in the scenery of it. And it's like, right when the girl comes, they hide the books, even if just like how she's hiding, quote unquote, this book that, she was supposed to pick up. And funny enough, in the midst of that book, she picks up a weapon, which we didn't know there was like a 6-piece in there. But yeah, but she picks up that, everything else, and get out there and then open the gate. Which you think you had all the time in the world to open that gate, when in reality you never had time in the world to open that gate, because y'all literally went at night, only the motherfucking get through there, and then right when you open that son of a gun, what happens? It's already day, and you came right the moment you open that damn thing, right? Lo and behold, the dude comes right there and like, oh, you one smart guy. But see, you failed to do one thing. You put your trust in a human. Which he ain't lying. He ain't lying. Because this human exactly what he's talking about. Slithering, snake, double-crossing mofos. That's gonna do you dirt. And we all know it's true because she had that thing tucked right behind her back. I find it funny how she had it tucked right in back, because the moment Noah stripped the chain and tried to hand her off as a peace gift of her memory of peace, magically she was able to pop out both hands out of her, like just poke. And I'm like, wait a minute. So where did the gun went? Oh, so she reverted the. Okay, I'm just saying. Because the way she was holding it, it didn't look like she had enough time to tuck it away. Again, little details. Make sure y'all clarify those things. But nonetheless, just overall, like it was pretty good. But it was just like, yeah, you know what, y'all humans, y'all gonna regret this day. But as far as what would I change if I was the director or the producer of this movie, what would I change or do different? One, for someone that sits here and said that she stayed around your tribe, but she was looking for help, and you've been around there, but you don't say nothing. Yeah, that really is stupid. I'm gonna sit around here, sneak around, move around, be in places, but then I was gonna go ask you for your help. But reality is, I didn't have enough courage to say anything, but I had enough courage to move around and sneak around and do this and this and that, trying to get warmth and and eat. Okay, yeah, tighten that up a little bit. What else would I think of? I really can't say too much of anything, because everything I'm thinking about, I'm not really hitting on. I mean,
yeah, it's a hard one to change anything.
Yeah, because I wouldn't change it too much, but there are just certain scenes that I would change. Like, for instance, if I'm now remembering this one, I would have hoped that the other chimpanzee that got washed away, he eventually find some type of land or shelter where he stayed alive versus dying, because he's pretty much the most knowledgeable of what happened beforehand. And now Noah really don't have nobody to look and guidance to understand what happened before him. So now
I was disappointed about that. I really thought he was going to show up at the end. That's
what I was hoping for, because that would make more sense, especially since he's the only one that's knowledgeable.
Yeah,
because there's no one else that's knowledgeable about this whole story. which is horrible because it's gonna deter you how you move forward.
But I mean, they definitely opened it up for another one to come out. So I mean, I guess, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think they've actually like shown proof that he couldn't come back. Maybe in like the next.
Yeah, but the thing is, because the way how they just fall off the stream, and then depending on where it is, because like you can say the same thing for the guy that's depicting himself as the new King Caesar, right? The way he falls and went into that water, you know if he's gonna live or not, or he could have come back into the scenery of it all and everything else. Yeah, it's pick and choose. But I just think because of the nature of just like the monkeys, gorillas, and all that, and then the fact that they're literally don't have no understanding of how to swim, they're easily susceptible to drown. So it's like you're pretty much screwed.
But plus, I think he was just there to give them the thought about, how they live with the humans. But I think even at the end when Noah was he got betrayed and stuff, because you remember he was like, hey, Proximus was kind of right. So I think that's where the society has to advance, because they're like, you know what? Even though we could be nice and stuff, we can't trust them. We saw the books, how we used to live. We respect Caesar, but we ain't going backwards. So I think that's why he died off, because it's like they're gonna advance.
No, but I don't think so. That was the problem. My thing is, it was the problem of understanding, because even if you can reason, like, right, think about it. Noah reasoned with the girl, right? With Maya. He reasoned with her. Reasoned with you, gave you a space to breathe, live, whatever. Reason with you. But in the midst of reasoning, in the midst of helping you, in the midst of feeding you, giving you shelter, and everything else, you still choose to do the most narcissistic, evil thing in the world, and that is to be a snake. And still do this, this is not normal type ish. Like, we're humans, you're apes, we're supposed to be over you guys. That's not people's fault. That's not their problem. It's not their problem. Y'all over here using monkeys as test tube projects for your freaking science, and then they got sick and tired of it. That's y'all problem. Y'all shouldn't be dealing with people. Y'all shouldn't be doing that shit.
But that's what I'm saying. I think he kind of knew. He was like, I'm gonna give you a pass, but that's where they're setting the stage for the all-out battle. And then I think after that battle, that's when they're like, we're done with y'all. So.
Oh yeah, no. I think right now where Noah's looking at it, he's looking at it as he understands now, like, he can't be naive. He can't be naive. And that's one thing about him. He understands he can't be naive. And that's common sense. That's smart. But even in the sense of not being naive, he's looking at her and telling her, hey, look, I dealt with you and I gave you life knowing I should have just be done with you. Knowing I shouldn't help you at all. No, I should have did nothing with you. I chose you over my own people. That should give you some type of understanding. And yet still to this day, she still did the ungrateful thing. So it's like at that point, you know how it is. You live and you learn. And he lived and learned that moment right then and there. No matter how far I give you, no matter how much times I give you chances, no matter how much times I trust you, aka that frog with the scorpion effect, right? I can help you cross the pond, but you're always gonna keep on stinging me type ish. No, we're done with that. You ain't gonna sting me again. We ain't gonna do that. You keep on stinging me, I'm gonna cut you off. Beat you down. I think
Noah's gonna be the new he's gonna be the mixture of like Caesar as far as unifying everybody. But I think he's gonna have some of that Proximus in him, and like, we ain't gonna trust him. So he's gonna be a combination of those two.
Right, because it's like at that final moment, like I still like the moment where he sits in, like when the girl was like saying what she was saying, but then he was like, who are you to tell me how we live? You the one that did this to us. We didn't did this to you.
Yeah.
We are the effect of what you have done to us. If you never did this to us, we would never been here. We would never done this. We would be in our own world. You would be in yours.
there was one more thing in a plot in the storyline that I also liked because you kind of brought it up, where I like in the Planet of the Apes movies how they kind of highlight it's always the smartest monkey or chimpanzee, whatever, versus the ones with the brute strength that always like, is either in charge or the king or something like that. Because
Well, yeah,
that one gorilla was kind of brawling, but it
yeah,
just showed
I mean,
like
it's always the
Proximus
same
was like the smartest. So it was just like I like how they kind of highlight that, where it's just like, hey, it's not always about brute strength. It's the person that got the intelligence that's kind of gonna be running stuff.
Well, yeah, because you gotta think about it. It's like, well, if anyone watched Spartacus, right? It's the same way. It's like you look at Spartacus and you look at Crixus. Crixus was the brute, but Spartacus was the brains, right? But both of them were both warriors. But the thing is, when it all came down to it, Crixus was the better warrior at the beginning. Spartacus became the better warrior at the end, and he was the better person to lead. Granted, they're both good at leading. The only problem is, when it's all said and done, if they all stayed together, they wouldn't probably have died the way they did in the TV show. But it all came to an end.
Right.
So,
But y'all know what time it is. Let me pull up the rating scale, see if anybody's gonna change their rating. So Amazing, we'll start with you. You're gonna keep yours the same. You're gonna go up or down?
I'm gonna stay the same.
All right. So you staying at the 9 mark. Got it between excellent classics territory still. So Wally, you gonna stay the same, go up or down?
So actually, I just remembered another scene, right? Yeah, no, I literally did. Because this was another thing that I also thought of when they did this. Because if you really paid attention to like how the scenes were all set up, a lot of the areas, if you think about it, some of the areas were probably like some of the same areas that Caesar was in, but they're all breaking down buildings. Like, for instance, if I'm not mistaken, I do not know if that telescope was in Caesar's movie of the Apes, the Planet of the Apes movies, but I'm pretty sure that telescope looked familiar.
I have to go back and look because I was thinking the same thing earlier, like the whole city stuff.
They look like familiar places in the scenery, as far as I can remember. But one of the things, because I remember one of the scenes that that they showed was when they got to like the captivity section. If you remember that place, the way that looked, it sort of looked like that was the same zoo that they were captured in and they got stuck in. But then that gate was the new gate that they put all the stuff that they put the bunker in. I'm like, that looks very familiar. And I'm like,
I have to go back and look. That's a good part.
Because that's what it looked like. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, that would be a bomb. But it was like the part of it that didn't look the same. Because the thing is, the only part of it that didn't look the same is because the water was there. So I'm thinking to myself, like, no, it couldn't be the same because the water's there. And I don't remember how the outside looked. But the way it was entered in, you make it seem like it was the same because it literally looks like it. It literally looks like it. It's like freaking memories, like, and they remember how it looked, and they gave you the same visual sense of that cage mentality that they gave them the first time in Caesar's movies. So I was like, that looked very familiar. And then the added nice way with the ships and then the imprisonment. But but if you looked at it, it was like, because here's another key part that I remembered, right? It was like the way of captivity. It's like if you were captured, you're pretty much a slave. It was like you're pretty much a slave and stuff, and you're working for people with this. So I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And it's like they have the human that they got the one smart human in there. He's telling you the jokes and he's in service. I'm like, what is this? It's like the flip side of Django. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. They took on even though that they had a disdain for humans, they definitely started emulating the behaviors. That's why I was like, I thought that was very clever how they put that in the movie, man.
Yeah. So I'm like, it was just very, it was very interesting how they set that up, and I liked it. But it was like at the same time the whole slavitude and everything else, and they have everyone work. I'm like, God damn, y'all mother lovers.
Yeah, Proximus is like, look, shit, I'm at the top. Now the other one last scene where it's just like, where she shot that one monkey.
Yeah.
And then Proximus was like, hey, you got some more of those?
Yeah.
He's like, hey, is some of those things up in that vault? Because I need some of those.
Right. And she was like, they can't live. She's like, Noah, they can't live. They can't get what's inside. and she bombed that thing up, and I'm like, oh my.
Yeah, Proximus was gangster. They should have kept him alive.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like when you went in there, you saw what those in there. I'm like, they got tanks in there. Are you niggas smart?
Proximus was about to go to war. He was like, "Shit, we about to figure this out."
I'm like, yeah, I see why you didn't want to get nothing in there, because that tank would have damaged their whole livelihood.
Mm-hmm. But it's going down. So Wally, what's you gonna go up down with the rating?
The way I look at this, I mean, they'll still. Oh my goodness, how do I want to look at this? Yeah, I'm gonna stay at 8.5 because they'll distill certain things for me that wasn't enough. Because here's the thing that made it also a little bit tricky for me to move this up, and that was like towards the end when the girl ends up escaping, goes back to captivity. But you're trying to tell me there's humans out here. They're in the outside world where there's another constructional bunker, and you give them the quote unquote the secret book that helps human read, quote unquote. It's telepathic, digital concepts, which technically it is what they're reading from, right? So they can connect the dots. But you're pretty much connecting them so they can get more human help from their section from the other section, and then everything else. My only thing is like you're trying to tell me with the vast technology I had there, you didn't have enough to go in there and try to fight or let alone rescue the remaining humans that were in the wilderness? I'm like, okay. That seems very skeptical. So that tells me is it'll just seem very. I mean, there pretty much were no guns or whatever like that, because you can't sit here and tell me you gave this one person a mission to gather info. You pretty much told her how to get inside. She just magically was supposed to be the one to go do it. She survived, and then.
She looked like a crackhead, man. I'm sorry.
Right, but look, like she was magically be able to do all of it, and then next come back. So it was just a little bit too much, especially since she did it all on her own without really a team other than the apes herself. So it was just like it just keeps on showing that this is really skeptical as heck, and I'm like, because honestly, it's like she's like a double agent, right? It's like on one hand, she's pretty much sent out there to do the mission, but on the other hand, it's like, okay, so what's the info on the chimpanzees the monkeys, the gorillas that you deal with? Are they good? Are they cool? How are they moving? And it's like, okay, because if you were to get that intel, how far did this work? Because then if she's back, because let's be honest, if they do it again from Noah's perspective now, right? The Noah arc side of the story. And we come back to the same thing. So I'm guessing she could be used for this whole scenario, and she could be in the middle of it all. Again, I'm expecting you to get chopped. I'm expecting her throat to get chopped in half. Like,
she's gonna get that work. She ain't gonna make it.
Yeah, but that's my piece on it. Yeah, I'm gonna stay at 8.5.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna stay at a 8.6. That's pretty high. Definitely a good movie though. Definitely will recommend it to people. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the series, so I can't wait to see the next one. Probably gonna take another like 3 years though to come out. So I'm gonna have to look it up and get some details. But all right, y'all. Part of words, Wally.
Look at parting words. Yeah, just go look at the movie, man. Go look. If you haven't watched the movie, go look at the movie. This pretty interesting. That's my part.
Amazing.
But I'm gonna have to go look back at it myself. I think I followed out of phases.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back. Look.
Happy Halloween. That's my parting words.
All right. And my part words, definitely check out this movie. Great movie, great storyline and overall concept. And I'm gonna go look up and see like what they was looking at, Wally, see if I can find something. Because that's definitely a good point you made. I gotta check that out. Maybe it was
it has to be
planet or something the humans escaped to or something like that. So yeah, maybe it's another planet colony.
It's probably a satellite. It's probably satellite. The only thing is because you gotta think about it, they don't know what it is, right? They're apes, they don't know what, like, they're monkeys and apes, they don't know what it is, and so they don't have full, intel on a lot of the human technology. They don't have no insight. Because think about what's the guy name? King P. I'm gonna just call him King P.
Proximus.
I don't remember his name like that. But what King P said, he said that he wanted the knowledge that, Proximus. So he wanted the knowledge that is inside that bunker, right? So he can too be smart about the humans. But of course, female did not want them to have no information on what's inside of it. There's a reason why. Because they don't want to know what's planned. That bunker had literally some type of schematics and stuff like that she wanted to be watered down under the bridge. I mean, the weapons, that was just weapons. But everything else, beside that, like technology, insight, all that, trust me when I sit here and say, if Proximus had any further intel knowledge that he probably would have, or anything else that he would have advanced in, and then eventually teach the other monkeys, gorillas, and chimpanzees and everything else that same piece of information, it's only a matter of time when you realize that they're going to equal the playing field on the information, let alone on the technology that's being used, so then they can counteract it. So, for instance, if they know what those satellites were and how they work and what they're used for, automatically they will break and destroy them. They want to let them things stay up.
Yeah.
So, that's just part of the, significance of it all. That's why when he keeps on looking up in that space and like, what is that? And they don't show the significance of it. It's like they pretty much, the reason why they don't show it is because we're looking at it from their lens. And we know that if we're looking at it from their lens, that means they're not knowing, so we can't know either. Ergo, you gotta think to yourself, what's up in space? More likely a satellite. That's, trying to connect the dots to other people and trying to, connect airwaves.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. But all right, y'all, keep tuning in and we'll keep doing the reviews. But all right, peace.